So let's start with a short prayer. Munir, can you do it, please? Oh.
Yes. Let's close our eyes and imagine all of us together in a nice, comfortable room, joining the benefactors, joining this wonderful team, preparing ourselves to receive their inspiration, their guidance in this study, so that we may benefit not just from the environment, specially prepared for this gathering, but also the teachings that we receive. With our hearts full of joy, full of gratitude for this opportunity, we ask permission to start our meeting. So be it.
Okay, thank you, Munir. So let me share my screen. If I'm not wrong, we were at this point, item 163, chapter 14, correct?
Yes, that's it.
We finished the moralization of spirits. Remember, we have talked about that. Okay. So today, electrical persons. So it would seem that to this mediumistic category belong those persons gifted with a certain charge of natural electricity, who are veritable human torpedoes, producing the effects of attraction and repulsion through simple contact. Human torpedoes. So here there is a question mark. What is the meaning of the word torpedo in 1861 when the book has been written? Huh? So we can maybe check in French, torpille, yes. So what we can do is to go to the dictionary of the French Academy quickly. French 1835. So torpedo is volume 2. Torpille. Just to make sure, because it had probably not the meaning as it has today of an engine or a bomb sent by a submarine, because those things did not exist at that time. Alors, torse, too long. Yes, Ebony?
I'm thinking that how it's used here, it's used to mean a strong sense of power to go out with force.
Yes, maybe. So look, here I found it. I don't know if you can read it on my screen. It is a fish of the same species as, how do you tell that in English, Munir? Raya? The flat
Ray.
Ray. Yeah.
Who has the property to give an electrical shock from where it is making your hand to sleep if you touch it, either immediately, directly, or if you touch it with a stick. So you see, torpedo had an absolutely different meaning as it has today. So it's
new,
just
isn't it?
And it's known as a Rai is giving some electrical shocks. Munir?
New, isn't it? You can get electric shock from those, you know, and they look like a torpedo more than rays themselves. Yeah, but I think they belong to similar categories in it.
Yes, but here we can, or today, or well, this happens. Sometimes you shake the hand of someone, and tack, you think you feel this electrical shock, but it's very well explained now. It comes from the static electricity, when you have, for instance, some moquette. What's the name of moquette in English? Carpets in a room, and
Friction. Yeah.
friction between the shoes and the carpet is loading your body in static electricity. And when you touch another body, if you have a lot of electrical charges in you, these charges will, of course, go to the other person, and tack, it makes this electrical shock. Christine?
I had an incident that occurred in the last couple of weeks where we had some unstable weather patterns happening, and I had body aches all over. Oops.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, I can't see you.
I mean, at least I can.
Yes.
Yeah, and what happened was that I had this built up electricity because my husband came to see me in the bedroom, and I was complaining of aches and pains all over my body, and he went to touch my arm, and it was just this, like this, I was going to call it an explosion of electricity that went through my hand to him. You couldn't see anything, but I could certainly feel it. And I was told part of the problem was the barometric pressure had dropped in the atmosphere because of the weather pattern, and that was adding to it. Would that be correct?
I would say yes, depending on the weather, on the air properties, humidity, you can have some electrical charges also in the air, and particularly when there is a thunderstorm weather type. Munir,
Yeah.
I'm wrong?
Yeah, when it's very dry, when the weather is dry, because water conducts electricity, but when there's little water in the atmosphere, you retain the charges. So it's very common.
Mm-hmm.
I get electric shock when I'm driving, when I get out and touch the car. It's, especially if I'm wearing also a woolen, jumper.
Yes.
Wool also, yeah, it's very good at producing static electricity. And usually you get dry weather in winter. Those very beautiful blue sky days when the weather, you see that the air is very dry, and, it's almost, certain that you are going to get some electric shocks from static. Yeah.
When it is humid, the water is conducting the charges,
Yeah.
which are then discharging into the ground. So, Lish?
Hi everyone. I just have a quick question. Can such electrical persons also keep on giving themselves electric shocks?
Electrical person giving themselves a shock?
Yeah. Are they more prone to getting electric shocks in this manner?
Because when you, for instance, you shake the hand of someone, you are full of charges, and the person on the other side not, we can even hear it sometimes, tack, the charges running, and so it gives a feeling of electrical shock, not only to the person receiving, but also to the person which is giving the charges. So it's a sensation of electrical shock. You can. There are some experiences that we did in the college by having a stick. I don't remember the material of the stick. It was plastic, round.
Yeah,
must be round, because when it's with sharp angles, the electrical charges are not retained in the same manner. And then either you have a peel of a cat or some piece of wool, and by friction, you can charge heavily the stick with this electricity. And then when you touch, for instance, something, a tube of heating which is on the ground somewhere, tack, you can see this. So it's a very common phenomenon. But at that time, electricity was really at the beginning. Maxwell did not, he was maybe born, but he did not yet establish his theories. So there were quite some questioning. Electricity was already known. I think the Volta with the battery was also already known, but it was really at the beginning, and there was no electromagnetical theories as we have today.
No, it was presented in 1874 by Maxwell.
Maxwell, voilà,
His theory of
1874. The decade
electricity
later.
and magnetism.
Voilà.
Charles, can I just add something that I believe that this type of mediumship, it's something that's being acquired to some mediums and to some people. As you harmonize yourself with the planet and with the world, you tend to absorb different types of magnetisms. And because of evolution, you're just able to use them differently. Because, for example, there are fish that if in Brazil, if you touch them, they will kill you with an electric charge. They don't have higher thoughts like we do. So I believe that the more harmony the more harmonic relations we have with our planet and with the environment and with one another, the easier it is to absorb different sources of energies and change our perispirit to work that towards what we really want, which is healing people and getting better and being well and helping others.
Yes, I think you are right, Rafaela, when we talk about magnetism as versus mesmerism. Definitively, I mean, there are some factors of harmony which are favoring the circulation of this type of fluids. But for this electricity, we will see a little bit further. Kardec is clearly saying it's not really mediumship. It's a pure physical, scientific, material effect. There is no third spirit involved. So, because for having mediumship, you need to have the influence of another spirit, of the medium himself, plus another spirit outside, and then it's characterizing mediumship. But I think we will read it a little bit further. Elsoli? You are on mute, Elsoli.
You're still on mute.
I find
Okay.
my
Go for it.
yes. Good morning, Charles. You know, I remember because she said, Rafaela, something is really interesting because I remember many years ago, I lived in São Paulo and we traveled to Sweden to visit the parents to my husband, my at that time, and my husband, and she died, and very good friends from us in São Paulo lived in Sweden, in south of Sweden, and she was very sick of ALS, you know, ALS. And she was very weak too. And I remember that she said, oh, I would like also to be with everybody in the board, in the table, because I would like to eat with her, but I can't eat, but I would like to be there. And I thought here something in me, my heart. I would like it. She for help, and I asked her, Mieko, would like to have a healing, one healing. She said, also, I would like everything. And oh, she would cry. Of course, she was so sick, so weak. And then she had, yes, I I said, thank you only to Jesus. Jesus or Buddha. She was Japanese. Her husband was a Swedish too, but she was. And I started it with a very, very good will because, you know, I saw from my fingers rays, blue rays, electric. And she said it too. She saw too. She said, "That's so lit." And then in the healing, after 1 minute, 1.5 minutes. So, and she said, I feel. She said that she felt a little bit better, so and that she could be with us on the tables, and she would like, or the sister, the last wish she had, I think so, with us. And after we come back to Sweden, to São Paulo, to return to São Paulo, she died 1 month after. So she was very, very ill. So I have an asking. It was only this electricity. It was what did you talk about now? But I don't think so. But I will ask you, it was fluid, or it was, yes, and I think I thought, I think spirits helped me too. I'm sure, me and her, because it was one phenomenon. And it's the day, during the day. So I said, oh, many. This is true. This is true. You come in here, body, her bodies. Then it was amazing.
Yes,
I
yes.
was my eyes were closed, but I saw, and she said, "Elsoli," I opened the eyes. Yes, I see too. So she saw.
So if the two persons have seen it at the same time, it was probably also a kind of a physical effect, unless there is also a coincidence of having both persons with the same type of visual mediumship. But the most probable it was effectively indeed physical effect. So eyes are natural. So this we always say, like Delane, before going to a spiritual origin for a given phenomenon, first investigate all possible material causes. And for this electrical person, let's read a little bit more, because you will see Kardec is clearly coming to the kind of the same conclusion.
I must only say, at my husband, he was a very, but he didn't accept anything, anything, because then that time he had any fear or something, and as he was medium, a very good medium too, and I think effect come from, they talk about magnetism. I think it's just it's a mixing of magnetism and because it's not natural to me. I don't go and healing. I work the healing, but no happens the same phenomenon. No.
Yeah, maybe.
I didn't see many. I mean.
So Kardec is adding, however, it would be erroneous to regard them as mediums, since true mediumship supposes a direct intervention of a spirit, a third spirit. And experiments have conclusively shown that in this particular case, electricity is the only agent behind the phenomena. You see, so Kardec come to the conclusion we just told in this electrical person. Apparently, there is electricity, so a physical cause, and there is no intervention of another spirit in the phenomenon. He adds this strange faculty, which may almost always be regarded as an illness, which is today not such the case. We know that some persons have, how to say, bigger sensitivity for electrical shocks than others, or maybe a bigger conductivity in the physical bodies than others. So there may be some physiological differences, but it's not mandatorily to be considered as an illness. Can sometimes be linked to mediumship, as seen in the case of the spirit trapper of Bergzabern. So I don't know if you know this episode of the spirit trapper of Bergzabern. Bergzabern is a city in Germany, north of France, in Strasbourg. And Kardec made a whole study through some correspondence he had in that region about some rapping phenomenon, which were also doubled by some electrical phenomenon. To see the details of this story, it is in the Spiritist magazine. I don't remember if it's 1859 or 1860. And
58, Charles.
or even
1858.
58.
Yeah.
Voilà. So you if you want to have more details about this spirit trapper, it was in Germany, Bergzabern. You can go and see the source. And apparently, some electrical phenomena were also linked to mediumship in that case. So this is why we should also always observe carefully and to make well the differences of the materials, things, causes, the spiritual causes, and maybe sometimes also a mix of both. However, most of the time, it is completely independent. According to what we have stated, the sole proof of spirit intervention is the intelligent character of the manifestation. Whenever this factor is absent, it is most logical to attribute the phenomena to purely physical causes. The question still remains as to whether electrical persons might have a greater aptitude for becoming physical effect mediums. We believe they would, but only experience will verify it. You see here how careful Kardec is in his analysis and consideration. He gives us a hint of how to recognize a third spirit when there is some intelligent aspect in the phenomenon. Exactly like in Hydesville, when Kate Fox started a conversation with the spirit. Hey, split foot, can you count until 3? And then 3 knocks. Can you count until 5? And then 5 knocks. So this is typically an intelligent aspect in the phenomenon. Okay, so that is the criteria we should observe before we conclude that there is a spiritist, a mediumistic intervention. Okay, if it's just a physical effect which comes randomly or with no signs of intelligence, we can then reasonably think that may be explained by some physical causes. And then Kardec is still questioning whether this person are electrical person have better aptitude to get a physical effect medium. So he say, my personal opinion is yes, but only experience will verify it. And should experience show it is not the case, Kardec would immediately change his opinion, okay, which is the correct attitude.
Charles, can I just add something?
Yes, please.
Since you're talking about electricity, magnetism, we should remember, as we mentioned before, the theory of electricity and magnetism was well known only, about 50 years later. towards the end of this century, Kardec's century. So when they mention electricity, magnetism here, they knew very little about it. Not so little about electricity, but magnetism. And then we started to see animal magnetism, you know, Mesmer, and we shouldn't make the same mistakes. And also talking about electromagnetic fields. Electromagnetic fields, electricity and magnetism, the ones where we find in physical phenomena in our world, they are physical phenomena. They have nothing to do with spiritual manifestation. And when they talk about electricity, it's just that the behavior reminded them of the electric phenomena they knew at that time. But we shouldn't make the mistakes and always bear in mind that whatever is spiritual is not detected by our instruments, not measured in our laboratory so far. Because sometimes people think, oh, it's an electromagnetic field. If it is electromagnetic field, we can measure them.
Exactly.
So it is on the physical realm, not on the spiritual realm. And I see sometimes it's our tendency to simplify things and try to see, for instance, in the magnetic field, we find in a bar magnet, something spiritual there, or some kind of healing. There is a healing. It's been proven, for instance, that magnetic field helps accelerate the growth of bone when we have a broken arm, for instance. They accelerate the development of the cells there, but this is a physical effect of magnetic fields, and there's nothing with the spiritual. And sometimes we talk about magnetism in spiritual terms. They are not the same thing. So we just should be careful and not try to see everything, for instance, in a bar magnet, magnetic fields that has spiritual properties as such, or something that goes beyond the physical realm. You know, so far, it's just on the physical domain.
Fully correct, Munir, fully correct. And to increase even a little bit the confusion is you see, for instance, the book of Chico Xavier, Mechanism of Mediumship. I don't know if it's translated into English. And in this book, the spiritual author, yes, it's André Luis, is doing some analogies between electromagnetic phenomena and spiritual phenomenon. He writes from the beginning or at the end of the book that this is only analogy and it cannot be taken as an identity but of course we must then do very well the difference, understand like when you have two oscillating circuits, when they are tuned one to the other, when there is the affinity, then how to say, they are exchanging some in a pure electromagnetic way, some energy from one to the other. So this can only be used as an analogy because me as an engineer, I would love to have an instrument to detect the presence of a spirit. But so far, as per my knowledge, it doesn't exist yet. There has been some photographies, there has been some Kirlian effect, and the Kirlian effect also, it's a corona effect which happens because when you put your hand, for instance, in a plate for Kirlian effect, there is also static, high voltage static electricity in the plate. And this induces some micro electrical arcs between your finger and the plate. So what you are photographing in the Kirlian effect is the corona effect, in fact. So now, of course, apparently the shape, the color, the length, the dimensions of the arcs are changing depending on some state of mind or whatsoever. So this is where then, how to say, we use a very well-known physical effect in order to try to detect and to measure something else, like photograph of spirits, done thousands of experiences in this field. Also, we are photograph machine is capturing some photons which are coming and which may be influenced by some spiritual body or by the vital body or something like this. So we need a lot of researchers in these fields before concluding anything. But the thing is that generally the commercial exploration is going quicker than the science in this type of questions. And then the confusion increases and you have a lot of people rejecting something which could be a true effect because of economical, financial exploration. Elzoli?
Because I forgot to say something, and I would ask you too, Charlie. When there happens then phenomenon, we heard it too. Like you know, it's a curtcircuit, some circuit.
Yes.
That time is on the phenomenon. They said, why did it come this noise? It was.
Yes. It's also a pure physical explanation. So when the electrical ray arc is going from the emitting party to the receiving party, it is of course shaking the molecule of air which are in between. And this shaking of molecule of air is giving a noise that we can perceive with our ears. So it's a purely physical phenomenon as well.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Now I know. Thank you.
I remember when these experiments that you had in physics in the college, where they charge this stick with a lot of electricity, and then the teacher goes. He has, of course, an isolating grip to have it. And discharges it in a plate or something. And there you can see, tack. And like when you have a thunderstorm, the noise you hear is also coming from the electrical arc, which is of course much bigger, with much more energy, and coming from the cloud. There is this attrition of the cloud causing the charging of these electrical things. And then up it goes and discharges into the earth, either directly to the ground or through a tree or through Para-raio. What's the name in English? Sorry for that. This, you know, this from what is the name of the inventor of it? Franklin?
Yeah.
Which you have a metallic stick with a
rod,
rope
yeah.
to the earth.
Is it like a rod? Is it?
Yeah.
I think isn't a rod something to ground?
Yes.
You know,
Is how to say it?
electric.
To protect
Dimming.
high buildings
A
from
lightning rod.
lightning rod.
Lightning rod,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
Ask
Exactly.
Amelia the 7.
Lightning rod. So you hear also the noise, and the noise is also coming through the agitation of the molecules of air, which are on the way where the ray is coming down.
It's almost like an explosion.
Yeah. Yes.
Charles, can I just mention, I truly believe that the electric charge often ignites change onto the other person's physical and spiritual body. So it triggers something. It's almost like a restart, just like when a car stops completely and you get the other car and you give a charge, as people say, give a charge.
Yes.
I believe as humans, when we shock each other like that, unconsciously, we are reigniting something for change. 98% of the human DNA has not been fully understood. And a lot of those chemical processes are electric processes, just like synapses on the brain, and are not fully understood how it happens. So I think that electricity carries the power to help change one another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or restart a process. But this is what I believe. I don't know if it's correct.
Much probably, and there are some researchers right now in medicine about the electrical potential into the human body. You know, the signals between our brain going through the nervous system to the muscles and so on are electrical. When they do a PET scan of your brain to see the activities, they measure the electrical fields and currents in your brain. So there is a lot of electromagnetical phenomena happening inside any living body. So this is a fact. Now, one of the criteria is still the ones that we just read from Kardec. Is there some intelligent effect in it or not? If there is no intelligent effect, much probably the cause lies into some pure physical effect that is fully predictable. Because as soon as there is an intelligence involved, this intelligence will act in a much less predictable way for the observer, like us.
Charles, I just want to add that the world wouldn't exist as such if it wasn't for electricity and magnetism, because the structure of the atom is as it is because there is electricity and magnetism in the atom. So matter would have a totally different structure, like a neutron star, very packed, you know, very dense. And we are electromagnetic beings. Our atoms are, you know, structured as they are due to electromagnetic effects. If we look from that perspective, you know, the electricity and magnetism is everything in the universe to structure the universe as it is.
And the electrons, which are the particle conveying electricity most of the time, they have an electrical charge, -1. And then when you have a current, electrical current in a conducting material or wire, it is the electrons which are either moving or in DC current circulating into this wire. And without this, as you tell, the matter would not be tangible for us. You know that the matter, when you have the nucleus of an atom and then the electrons gravitating around, there is a huge void in between. Yet you cannot, the matter is offering a resistance. And where is this resistance coming? From these electromagnetic intraatomic electronic forces, typically.
Yeah, we normally say that if the nucleus of the atom has 10 centimeters in diameter, the first electron is going to be found, the closest one, between 100 meters and 1 kilometer from this nucleus. So there's great emptiness, but all the structure is as it is because of electricity.
Exactly. Okay, so let's jump. So this is apparently just a physical, how to say, phenomenon, this electrical person, which may be linked to mediumship, as Kardec is suggesting as an hypothesis. So that's why he made a separate section for this. And the next subsection is sensitive or impressionable mediums. Okay. So Kardec is commenting, this label is used to designate individuals capable of sensing the presence of spirits through a vague impression, a sort of general shudder, of which they do not know the cause. So you see here is feeling the presence of a spirit. This is a sensitive medium. Okay. Sorry, Liz has the hand risen.
Yeah, hi. A lot of good holistic doctors, going back onto the electrical phenomena, they do use the Rife modalities on the frequencies for healing people. My doctor particularly, and they found that different frequencies heal different illnesses and different things in the body. So yeah, this is, since, you know, Rife started doing that in the first place, it's really become a very important phenomenon in healing, because as we all know, we are electric people, you know, we're electromagnetism. So it pays to understand that if we are energy, you heal with energy.
Mhm. Yes, and indeed, I was talking about researchers on the electrical fields and frequencies also, because it's a dynamic field, it can have a frequency in the human body, and there are a lot of researchers in this field. And I'm sure, I think we talked about it with Guilherme very recently. I don't know if it was in this forum or in another meeting. And really, there are more and more findings now about this type of as you just described, Liz. And my feeling is it will drive big progress in medicine, and maybe also some simpler way to anticipate even some illnesses before they really harm the physical body.
Absolutely.
So I'm really confident that there will be a lot of discoveries in this field. It is already used for IRM, for instance, or MRI in English, maybe.
You're right.
This type of exams, but this is, I mean, MRI is very heavy, intense electromagnetic fields. But in the less energetical electrical fields, there is also a lot of things to detect and to, voilà. So much probably we will very soon have a kind of possibility to make an image of the person depending on these low energetical electrical fields that are existing around the physical body, and maybe also in a different way around some parts which have a health problem, and that will be
It's
a
the
big
same
progress.
with the different frequencies or hertz in music as well,
Yes.
and the different frequencies in light. And when you combine all those as well, they are very powerful healing modalities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all this spectrum of frequency, from the low frequency bass and so on, to the high frequency microwave and so on. So this is now perfectly known everywhere and even used technologically. So
yeah, laser used to, you can either speed up the development and the healing process of a cell with laser, or you can inhibit it. You can slow it down. It depends on the frequency, it depends, on the intensity, the time the cell is exposed to that light, particular light, So yes. And as I mentioned before, also you can use magnetic field to help the bones to, heal when you have a broken arm, for instance. The magnetic field, the cells under the magnetic field, they speed up also the process of mending the bone that was broken.
Because in the same way, I mean, there are some electrical currents a little bit everywhere in the physical body, where of the living persons. And of course, so here we can see the effect it can have. And also, the cells are composed of atoms, and the atoms are also with these electromagnetic forces, intraatomic electrical forces. So everything, but the thing is, we must have researchers about it in order to understand better, because again, I mean, a lot of things which are not very well established are explored. I mean, the financial exploration is going quicker than science, and this is instead of accelerating the research, it's of calling for some opposition because of the financial exploration, and then they come with charlatanism and whatsoever. And a lot of scientific people who could make the correct researches on the subject are, no, it's a polemic subject, I don't enter in this field, and this is a pity. So science only goes with, sorry?
Would you say that the same electrical phenomena also applies to kinesiology or autonomic response testing, where you do the response testing on the muscles and the body then tells you what is wrong with it and gives you the recipe for healing whatever part of the body? The body itself tells you what is wrong. Is that an electromagnetic phenomena as well?
So kinesiology, if I remember well, it's coming from Scientology, correct?
I'm not aware of that, but there's muscle testing, which Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt uses. He's got his own method, which is higher than kinesiology, where the muscle is either weak or strong when you ask the body a question.
Yes. So this I don't know then. But for instance, Scientology is known as for heavy financial exploration. No?
Oh
And
yeah,
even
I
here
don't
in
get
France,
involved in Scientology at all.
the
For that
government is
reason.
putting
Yeah,
some
no.
strong warnings. Be careful, because they really suck your money until you are really in the street. Huh? It's terrible.
Yeah, they did that to my cousin in Australia.
Wow.
But no, I've known about Scientology, been warned about that for about 10 years ago or more.
And they come with some pseudo-scientific, according to some specialists, means with some apparatus which are supposedly measuring something and helping you for this, that, or whatever, and with absolutely no grounding, and they make huge money with that. Huh? So this is one of the examples of this attitude which is harming more than helping. Huh? And scientifically, science must go always with disinterestedness. And this is one of the key of spiritist body of knowledge is the disinterestedness. Because if you have personal interest, then comes, this famous selfishness and pride, which is basically the biggest hurdle, the biggest obstacle for our personal evolution and also for the evolution of our society. Alors, Elzoli?
This is not common. When I see an spiritus back is always a reason. So it's not common. When I see when spirit, but it happens. I remember in 2021 December. My kitchen needs urgent repair because it was a problem here. Inundação, I don't know in English.
Flooding.
And thank you. And I remember I was in my, I needed to live in another place of the apartment because here is occupied of the people, so works every day, and so 1 month. And I remember I sit in my sofa and I was relaxed only, but I saw suddenly one near another. Then spirit was surprised because I was surprised too. And he did so surprised. I think, I don't know what's happened, but I think sometimes, it was from Ireland, How could it hear so quick? I feel from Ireland, and he disappeared too, and me too, and I would a bit for him because I think it was I don't know what's happened. He didn't want to come there because he was very surprised, and it did so. And me too. I think one spirit is not common. Come spirit near me, and he was he's a man, not a bad spirit. No. He was a worker, and but from another side. So. And yes, it happened that. And I would like to ask you, because here they say you can feel something, and at that time I feel the anything. I only suddenly it was in there, and another time can happen. I feel like a like a butterfly, like it's something in the air. I feel, and I can wake, and the spirit are there and the talk. And this is because he needed something, and he needed something. But it's so sadly, it's not happen always. No. But then I would like to ask you. I didn't find anything. I feel anything. It was a surprise, and so it was. It's not any time. My few people feel something, because I feel anything when suddenly then the spirit. So
Yes. So you are probably sometimes temporarily a sensitive medium to feel the presence of a spirit. So it's the example you just mentioned is one example of what we are just studying right now.
Just another time, but it's so long time, and a long time ago too. No, some years, because I didn't say I don't see spirit every day. No. It was interesting because I was in the south of Sweden, and it was one children's program with Claudia Verdini. You know, everybody knows her. Very good works with evangelization for children. And so first night I was in my hostess. I in the host room. I sleep with her cat. Cat likes me so much and come to sleep with me, and I sleep. And in the middle of the night, I feel something. This you mean here when you talk? I feel something. And I saw it was one woman, middle older, I think. Excuse me, middle and age. She was about 6 years old, so, and she tried to talk, but I couldn't listen. It like a glass was. I don't know. I couldn't listen, but I think so. Here, oh, take it easy, because you will be helped. And she almost the same time as she was calm and disappeared. And another day, I talked to her, to my husband, and I said, Father, I would like to remember her her face. And yes, she remember when I described it. She said, "Oh, she would like to know about her son. No news. He would like to know news." And she, in the night after the event, she I think she meet this woman. She knows, and she had passed away 4 years ago. Would you like to know about her son? And that she, they could meet, and she could have interesting, because I asked her why you didn't see, why you come to direct. So Lee, I don't want, because I don't want to see spirits. When I was 60 years old, 6 years old, I always saw spirits. I saw, Father, I don't want to see spirits. And never more, I never more see So spirits.
Yeah.
So, and then why I saw, I think spirit was in the car when you took me in the bus station. I think spirit was already there, and so I think so. I don't know.
Yes, thank you, Elzoli. So we are already running to the end of our time. Yasmin, you still want to use the 2 minutes we have left?
No, thank you, because we have to do the prayer and then we have a
You
lot
have
of people
written
to go.
your answers to Liz. I think, Liz, you have seen the answers, written answers in the chat from Yasmin. Voilà. Okay, good. So I personally must know, well, I heard about this kinesiology in a negative way, but it's maybe a wrong feeling mine. So there may be, of course, some other more serious and neutral applications of it. That's it. Okay, so I think we will stop here. Let me put, okay, impressionable mediums. Making a closing prayer very quickly. So thanking the spirits for the opportunity we had today to be gathered in order to study this a little bit more about this knowledge that Kardec compiled in this fantastic book, which is a medium's book. May all this help us to understand better these laws of nature which are involved, and also the purpose of the mediumship, which is to help our fellows. Wishing also all the best for our colleague Guilherme, which is today in a mission with his son for the studies that we understand fully, and thanking also all the spiritual benefactors which were with us today. Thank you so much. Have an excellent week, and we meet again Saturday next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.